Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namami buddham gunasagarantam santa sada hontu sukhi averam kayo jinguncho sakalo dugando gachanti sabbe maranang ahanche namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa titthaṃ caraṃ nisinno vā sayāno vā yāvatassa vigatamiddho etaṃ satin aditteya brahmametam viharaṃ idamāhoti. Homage to the exalted one, the worthy one, the supremely enlightened one. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in Dhamma, our Saturday Dhamma class and meditation class, here I would like to explain one of the main topics in Buddhism, Chattari Brahma Viharani, 4 sublime states of mind, Brahma Vihara. I think that you are interested in learning this topic. Okay? According to Buddhism, all Buddhist doctrines can be included into 2 pillars. One of them is practicing loving kindness. The other one is developing wisdom. These are the main pillars that all Buddhist doctrines can be included in. In one side, we should develop loving kindness. On the other side, we should develop wisdom or panya. Buddhist doctrines means the path to purify our mind. Buddhism means purifying of our mind. Everyone likes to be happy. We do everything in the name of happiness. But people usually think that when they study very well, or if they are well educated, if they are very rich, if they have a lot of friends and relatives, they are successful or they are happy. Actually, that is only one of the things that we should have. According to Buddhism, our happiness, our success completely depends on how far we have purified our mind. Here it is very important to understand the negative thoughts that disturb our peace of mind. There are 3 unwholesome mental states that disturb our peace of mind: greed, anger, and delusion. The more we reduce these negative thoughts, the more we are happy. The more we have reduced these negative thoughts, the more we are successful in our life. If we want to overcome these negative thoughts, Buddha has explained the path how we do it. Here knowledge is very important. Knowledge and practice, both are very important. That is why usually I say you that vision and mission, both of them are very important. In one side, we should have vision, good point of view. On the other side, we should have a mission. As I usually say that, vision without mission is useless. Mission without vision is blind. Both of them are very important. That is why Buddha has explained, Janato ahang bhikkhave passato asvanang kayang vadami, no ajanato, no apassato. I proclaim the liberation, enlightenment for those who know the path, who see the path. Without seeing the path, without knowing the path, it is unable to reach the destination, enlightenment or liberation. That is why we should be knowledgeable, we should know the path. That is very important. Buddha says, especially in Karaniya Metta Sutta, the Metta Sutta, the discourse of loving kindness, Buddha says, he who wants to achieve the peace of mind should have to practice loving kindness. Practicing loving kindness is the way to overcome anger. Practicing generosity is the path to overcome greed. Practicing impermanence, reflecting on impermanence is the path to overcome delusion or ignorance. These three things are very important. Practicing dana, practicing loving kindness, and reflecting on impermanence. These three things are very important. Here, we are going to discuss the importance of practicing loving kindness. You know, it says in Pali, metta. In Sanskrit, maitri. And metta is one of the 4 sublime states in Buddhism. Buddha says there are 4 sublime states that the Mahabrahma is dwelling with. Metta, karuna, mudita, upekha. Metta means practicing loving kindness. Karuna means compassion. Mudita means sympathetic joy. Upekha or upeksha means equanimity. Maitri and mitra are different. Sometimes we may think that both of them are same. Actually, there are some same qualities too, but the root is different. Mitra and Maitri. Metta and Mitta. Mitta means friendship. Maitri means making a very calm heart. It means Mitta or Maitri is limit. Mitta or Mitra is limit. It is a small thing. But Maitri or Metta is very wide. It is boundless compassion. It is very wide topic. You know, friendship, we have friendship with only few people. But Maitri or Metta is very wide topic. We can spread it without any boundaries. That is why it is said as appamanya or apramana. Appamanya means we can spread it all over the universe. But mitta or friendship is very limited. However,
mitta spelt, is it?
Mitta.
How is it spelt?
In English?
The Pali version.
Yes, Pali, M-I-T-T-A. Metta. And Metta is Metta, Metta. Mitta and Metta. Both are different, but they have some same qualities too. However, Metta is a very wide topic. Mahabrahma practices it to all over the universe. But Mitta is limit. However, it is also a quality. He who has Metta has Mitta too. Okay? But even though we have Mitta or friendship, sometimes we have no Metta. There are some people who are in some groups, they have friendship only with their friends, only with their group. But when we practice Metta or loving kindness, it has no limit.
So, are you saying that with Mitta, it's conditional?
Yes, conditional
to Metta,
love.
which is unconditional.
Yes, unconditional or boundless.
Boundless, yes.
Boundless loving kindness. It is very wide. That is also one of the things. But a lot of people may think that both of them are same. Actually, it has a difference. Okay? That is the very first thing that we have to know. Mitta and Metta.
So with friendship, you expect something back. You are friends, but you want that person to be friends with you. But with Metta, you just don't want anything back.
Yes. If we are friendly, that friendship with among the people, those who we know. But when we practice Metta, even though we don't know they individually or privately, we can practice it.
Yeah. In psychology, they say in friendship, it's a reciprocal relationship.
Yes.
It's a give and take.
Yes.
You're saying
and also,
Metta is unconditional.
Yes. When we have friendship, sometimes we think return.
Yes.
When we help others, we hope that they also will help us. That is the nature of friendship. But Metta is like, mother's loving kindness. Mother, a mother helps her children. She never hopes a return. That is why it says in Buddhism as Metta.
So Metta is conditional. Is it also Metta?
Mitta.
Sorry.
Friendship.
Unconditional, but is it
yes.
unconditioned? Is it supreme?
Yes, supreme, unconditioned, boundless, limitless.
Is it mundane or super mundane?
Actually, it can be explained in both steps.
Yeah,
I will explain this later.
Okay.
Okay, that's a very important question that you ask.
Yeah.
Okay, how do we practice loving kindness? First of all, we practice loving kindness where we are in. May all beings at this temple be well, happy and peaceful. Again and again we think it. Then we spread it little by little. And then we think that may all beings in this city be well, happy and peaceful. Again we think, may all beings in this shire be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings in this country be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings in this continent be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings in this planet, the earth, be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings in this solar system be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings in this universe be well, happy and peaceful. Not only human beings, but all beings. We think all beings be well, happy and peaceful. First we start with mentally. Later we practice it verbally and physically too. We can see some people, They practice loving kindness only mentally, but verbally and physically they don't practice it. These three things are very important. First, we practice it mentally. Then when we speak something, we speak with loving kindness. And also when we work, when we behave with loving kindness. In these three things we can practice it. That is the very first thing. Finally, we have not only loving kindness but other things also gradually increase. Karuna, mudita, upekha, compassion, sympathetic joy and equanimity. When we have loving kindness, when somebody is suffering, we are ready to help them. We can do something as much as we can because of our kind heart. That is the nature of karuna, compassion. And also mudita. What is the mudita? Mudita means sympathetic joy when other people are successful. When our relatives and friends succeed, we are happy, like we success. That is the nature of mudita. Mudita is the opposite of jealousy. Jealousy is one of the defilements, negative thoughts that disturb our peace of mind. And when we practice loving kindness, we have compassion and sympathetic joy too. Not only that, but we make an unshaken mind, equal mind. What is that? Even though sometimes we can control some people or things, even though we practice compassion and loving kindness, even though we bless others, sometimes because of their karma, actions, or their behaviors, they have to face some problems. Even though we bless them, then we can make a balanced mind, equal mind. Buddha also has done the same thing. One day, a prince of King Kosala tried to kill Sakyas, Buddha's relatives. Buddha tried to control it 3 times, but it was failure. In 4th time he came again. Buddha realized, why is that reason? Why that person is coming again and again kill to my relatives? Buddha understood that in a previous life, all the relatives of the Buddha have done a very cruel thing. Now the time to face that result. Then Buddha was in equanimity. Then that person, Prince Vidudaba, went and killed many Sakyas in India. These are the things that we should have when we make an unshaken mind. In this world, there are some things cannot be controlled by even a Buddha. This is the nature of the world. And here, I am describing the advantages of practicing loving kindness. When we practice loving kindness, little by little our anger reduces. One of the main reasons that we suffer is anger. Anger disturbs our peace of mind a lot. If we are angry, even though we are well educated and rich, everything that we earned is useless. Why is that? We have no inner peace. That is why Buddha says, he who wants to become the peace of mind has to practice loving kindness. That is the very first step of the path of liberation. The more we practice loving kindness, the more we are happy. Buddha says, as the result of practicing loving kindness, when we meet a person, when we hear a person, when we think a person, as soon as we meet that person, we think that person is like my only son or daughter. This is the highest attitude or advantage of practicing loving kindness. If we have this attitude, how our mind is beautiful. This is the highest attitude. And also, when we practice loving kindness, Buddha has explained the discourse of metta, metta-nisansa. There are a lot of advantages or results that we can receive in this life itself as the result of practicing loving kindness, metta bhavana. Buddha says that he who practices loving kindness, sukhang supati, sleeps comfortably. Sukhang patibujjati, wakes up comfortably. Napapakang supinam passati, doesn't see evil dreams. Manussanam piyo hoti, he is dear to and beloved by human beings. Amanussanam piyo hoti, he is just as dear to non-human beings. Devata rakhanti, deities guard him as a mother and father guard the child. Nasa aggiva visangva sattanva kamati, fire, poison and weapons don't affect him. Tuvatam chittam samadhyati, mind is easily concentrated as the result of practicing loving kindness. And mukhavanno vipasidati, he appears to be calm and attractive. His face is very pleasant. When we practice loving kindness, our appearance is very pleasant. And asammulho kalang karoti, he dies unconfused. At the end of his life, he is very peaceful. Then Buddha says, actually these results can be seen in this life. There is another result that we receive after we die. Buddha says, Uttaring appati vijjanto brahma loko upajjati. If he didn't attain enlightenment, when he falls from this life, he reappears in the Brahma realm. These are the results that we can receive throughout practicing loving kindness, thinking that may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Actually, we can see these results in our day-to-day life. When we go on the path, when we meet a person, mentally we think that that person is like my son or daughter. When you drive on the street, around the people who are around you, you think all of them are like my children. Then you are very pleased, you are very pleasant, your mind is very calm and quiet as the result of this attitude. And another thing is that we have to understand, we can receive the results in several steps. These are the results in the primary level. The secondary level, we can see the results that when we practice loving kindness again and again, we can concentrate our mind in the particular wholesome object with the thought of loving kindness. The duration of practicing loving kindness decides our inner peace. Actually, Buddha says, if there is a very wise person who was born in the world has a duty to develop in his life, those are practicing concentration and reflecting on impermanence. Samatha Vipassana. This is the highest thing that we can practice in our life as wise people. Our success depends on the duration of concentrating our mind. According to Buddhism, our education, our wealth don't decide our success. Our success completely depends on that how far we can concentrate our mind in a particular wholesome object. This is one of the techniques that we can practice. On the other side, as you asked me, while we are practicing walking meditation, at the same time we can think, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. While we are walking, we can practice. Not only while we are doing walking meditation, but when you walk as exercises, at the same time you can practice loving kindness. While you are doing exercises in the morning or evening, along the streets, you can think, you can practice this meditation technique. That is why Buddha says very important thing that I recited at the beginning. Tittang charang nisinnova sayanova yavatassa vigadamiddo etang satin aditteya brahmametang viharang idamahu. Page number 4. When standing, walking, sitting, lying down, whatever he feels free of tiredness or sleeping, let him establish well this mindfulness. This, it is said, is the divine abode. This is the way how Brahmans are living. We can practice this meditation technique in 4 postures: standing, walking, sitting, lying down. That is very important. As I mentioned before, contemplating on 4 fundamental elements: Maha Bhuta Rupa, Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, earth, fire, water and wind, can be contemplated on 4 postures. Like that, this meditation technique, Metta Bhavana or practicing loving kindness also can be practiced in 4 postures. That is very important. Okay, the other thing is, there were some people when Buddha appeared in the world who developed Metta Bhavana to the maximum level. They thought that their highest goal or benefit of practicing meditation is going to the Brahma realm. They think that Brahma realm is permanent. That is why their final goal was going to the Brahma realm. When Buddha appeared in the world, Buddha realized and explained Brahma realm is not permanent. It is also impermanent. Because they were lived there for a long time, they thought that they are permanent. But Buddha realized that it is not permanent. One day, one of the disciples of the Buddha went to another religious person's monastery. While he was begging food, at the same time he went to another monastery in another religion. Sometimes it may be, Brahmins monastery. Then they asked a question. What is that? They asked that, Bhante, we practice loving kindness. Your master, the Supreme Buddha, also explains loving kindness. Then both of us are same. At that time, that monk had not an answer. He came back to Buddha and told the Buddha, Bhante, in the morning I went to another monastery. They asked a question. They explained something to me that I couldn't understand it. He says, they say that they practice loving kindness, they practice jhanas, and we also practice loving kindness, we also practice jhanas. Therefore, both of us are same. Then what the Buddha said? Buddha says that practicing loving kindness and achieving jhanas and going to the Brahma realm is the final destination of them. That is their final goal. But concentration meditation or jhana or practicing loving kindness is not the end of our path. That is not the ultimate goal in Buddhism. We practice loving kindness for liberation. Liberation or enlightenment is the final goal of us. Their final goal is concentration. The Buddhist point of view is that liberation or enlightenment or wisdom is the final goal. They stop in concentration or jhanas, but Buddhism doesn't stop in concentration. With the concentrated mind, we reflect on impermanence. That is why Buddha says, we practice loving kindness focusing on liberation, reflecting on impermanence. We practice loving kindness or jhana as a helper for the final goal. Practicing loving kindness or going to a Brahma realm is not the final goal of Buddhism. Buddha says very clearly, Samahito bhikkhave yatha bhutam bhajanasi. He who practices concentration reflect on impermanence. After mind is concentrated, with the concentrated mind, we reflect on impermanence. Why is that? We started this path, in eightfold path. Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, finally Samma Samadhi. Right concentration. We started, this path with right point of view, right understanding. Samma Ditti. Samma Ditti means understanding the Four Noble Truths. We start this spiritual path with the understanding of the knowledge of arising and ceasing of suffering. Whenever our mind is fixed in outside, whenever we are ignorant, then we have to meet suffering. If we reflect on impermanence, then we don't meet suffering. We don't suffer. That is the destination. With the understanding of the Four Noble Truths, we practice loving kindness. As soon as mind is concentrated, we reflect on impermanence. What is that? I is impermanent. Forms are impermanent. I consciousness is impermanent. Ear is impermanent. Sounds are impermanent. Ear consciousness is impermanent. Nose is impermanent. Smell is impermanent. Nose consciousness is impermanent. Our tongue is impermanent. Taste is impermanent. Tongue consciousness is impermanent. Body is impermanent. Feelings are impermanent. Body consciousness is impermanent. Mind is impermanent. Mental formations are impermanent. Mind consciousness is impermanent. as much as mind is concentrated, we reflect on this reality, impermanence, wisdom. This is the Buddhist path. We don't stop in loving kindness or jhana or concentration, because Buddha pointed out the way how we eradicated ignorance or delusion completely. Reducing ignorance or delusion is the highest goal in what the Buddha taught. For that, we get a help from practicing concentration, but we can see the results as the result of practicing loving kindness. A lot of results we receive. For example, when you go to London, when you drive on the street, you can see a lot of things. You can see very beautiful trees, flowers, gardens, farms, cities, animals on the path to London. But your final destination is reaching London. However, you can see other benefits too. Like that, when you do something focusing on liberation, reflecting on impermanence, concentration is one of the results that you meet on the path. That is not the destination. As we mentioned before, we can sleep very calmly, and other people love us, and our mind is concentrated, our face is very beautiful. Those are the results that we receive throughout practicing loving kindness, but they are not the final goals. Our final goal is getting rid of suffering completely, reflecting on impermanence. On that path, this is one of the benefits that we can receive. The more we concentrate our mind, the more we are peaceful, we are happy. That is why Buddha says, day by day, we should try to increase the duration of practicing concentration, such as practicing loving kindness. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Now we are going to your section, that mundane level and supramundane level. Okay, in the mundane level, the highest benefit that we receive in the mundane level is that keeping our attention in a particular wholesome object for a long time, jhana or samatha or concentration. When we practice concentration meditation, actually we think still there is a world outside. We don't reflect on impermanence on this path at the beginning. It belongs to, conventional truth, mundane level. For example, when I practice loving kindness, I think, may you be well, happy and peaceful. I think there is a certain person, permanent person. I don't overcome the misunderstanding of ego. Still I have that misunderstanding. But I know very well, after I concentrate my mind, I have to go to the next level. I practice loving kindness as a benefit for my final goal. Still I am in the mundane level. When we practice loving kindness, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful, we think that there is a permanent world in this universe. But we know very well in the supramundane level, the world is created by us at the moment according to our present mental condition. That is the highest attitude in the supramundane level, but still we are in the mundane level. That is why, as other religious people ask that monk, actually their concentration in the mundane level, in the conventional truth. That is why they go to the Brahma realm after they die. But Buddhism doesn't stop in the mundane level. As soon as mind is concentrated, we reflect on impermanence. Everything that we experience arises and ceases. And also, practicing loving kindness helps us to live peacefully in this life. And also, keeping our attention in mindfulness or loving kindness is the highest merit in the mundane level. In the mundane level, we can practice 3 meritorious deeds, dana, sila and bhavana. Among them, meditation is the highest merit. And practicing loving kindness is the fast way how to develop our spirituality in the mundane level. But the interesting thing is that as Buddhist followers who started this path with the understanding of the Four Noble Truths doesn't stop in the mundane level. He reached next step where we have to reflect on impermanence. That is the difference in Buddhism. In the mundane level, the highest quality or benefit that you can practice in your day-to-day life is that practicing loving kindness, thinking, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. This is the way how we overcome our negative thoughts such as anger. And also this is the place where we can practice, we can train our mind to live in the present moment with a wholesome object. And also little by little we go to the next level too, where that we practice impermanence or anicca. Practicing or reflecting on impermanence is the highest quality in Buddhism. We suffer because of our ignorance or delusion. What is the ignorance that we think? When we experience something, it was here before we experience. After we experience, those things remain. That is why we suffer. Even though you left your house, you think still your house is there. It is true according to the conventional truth, but according to the supramundane level, absolute truth, you create your house or children or vehicle whenever you think it. Like when you go to the mirror, before you go to the mirror, the shadow was not waiting for you. As soon as you go to the mirror, your appearance appears there. Your shadow appears there. Our whole experience also like that.
The word is reflection.
I was going to say that.
Not shadow, but reflection.
In a mirror.
Reflection, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, reflection appears at the moment with the conditions. Even though you go to the mirror, if there is no light, you can see the reflection. Okay, like that. Even though your car is on the street, your house is there. If you don't think it, it is not in this world, in your spiritual world, in your mind. When you think something, your entire life is that experience. When you think your son, your entire life is your son. At the moment, you don't have even your body. When you think your mom, your entire life is your mom. At the moment, you don't have even your wife. In the conventional truth, it is true, but in the mundane level, you have only think what you think. If we have this understanding, actually, we are able to overcome suffering. Our entire life is like the reflection where it is in the mirror. It is impermanent. Impermanence means whatever we experience that arises at the moment with the conditions, like the reflection, that immediately ceases when conditions separate. If we have this understanding, we have nothing to attach or detach. We are in equanimity. We make an unshaken mind that no one can disturb. This is the final goal of all Buddhist doctrines. By practicing loving kindness, generating positive thoughts in our mind in the mundane level, we trained our mind to go the destination, ultimate truth, liberation, reflecting on impermanence. On the other side, according to Buddhism, we can make the Brahma realm before we die. Other religions explain their liberation or divine realm or Brahma realm after they die. But we are so fortunate. If someone can practice this for sublime states, we can make this world, like Brahma realm. Physically we are in the human realm. Mentally we are in the Brahma realm. If we can practice these doctrines, if we practice Buddhist path, we can make this world like heavenly realm, like Brahma realm. Finally, we can attain enlightenment in this life before we die. Other religions explain their liberation after they die. But the interesting thing in Buddhism that before we die, we can experience enlightenment according to what we practice. And after we attain these results, we can live more with our children, with other people. But the interesting thing is that even though we live in the common, ordinary world, society, physically, mentally we are different. Like a lotus flower. Lotus flower generates or arises in the mud, but it comes from the mud and it doesn't touch mud or water. Like that. Even though we live in the ordinary society, physically, mentally, we are in the supramundane level. That is the difference that we should be in. For that, day by day, we should dedicate our everything that we have earned in this life. Practicing dana, generosity, practicing sila, virtue, practicing meditation, bhavana, day by day, we should develop our mind. Have any question?
What is the opposite to jealousy?
Mudita, sympathetic joy, being happy when others are successful. Very good question.
Can I make a comment on some of the things you have said, some of the words you've used? Earth, water, fire and windy. You're saying it's earth, water, fire and wind. Or normally earth, water, fire and air. You
Yes.
usually say.
Okay, thank you. Earth, water, fire
and air.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
But wind would be okay as well.
Okay.
But not windy.
Okay, thank you so much.
They sometimes talk about a fifth element. What is
space?
It's space, isn't it?
Space.
So Buddhism does not recognize space?
Buddhism explains this.
Yeah.
Yes, sometimes Buddha explain 4 elements,
Yeah.
sometimes 5 elements, sometimes 8 elements.
Right.
8 elements.
Yes. Varna, Gandha, Rasa, Oja. There are the 4 things. Varna, colors.
Color.
Gandha means smell.
Yeah.
Rasa means taste. Oja means the essence of our life. In several steps, Buddha has explained those things. Sometimes 4 elements, sometimes 5 elements, sometimes 8 elements, sometimes more. Okay.
Very
Okay, thank you so much.
One other thing is that it needs a better translation. I've seen it on some of the sheets. Ahutva Sambhutam Hutva Nabhavisati. The translation isn't very good, and I can't think of a better one, but I don't know if anybody else can. Not being occurred in the past comes to an occurrence. There is a much better translation of that, which we need to find. I can't.
Not having occurred. Yeah.
Not having
grammar,
occurred
isn't it?
in the
Could you say
past.
not having arisen
Not having arisen. Yeah.
in the past? How would that be?
Well, occur is fine.
Comes
but
to arise, yeah.
comes to
So
occur.
not having arisen in the past comes to arise. Would that be better?
And read the whole thing. So not
Being occurred at the present
Yeah.
will not go to the future occurrence. It's probably best if we look it up and find a better translation, because
Yes,
it
that's
occurs many times in the canon. So we find a better translation for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the meaning is very powerful.
Yeah,
we
understand
The
the
grammar
meaning.
doesn't matter because message is so powerful. It's saying
Actually,
something that hasn't occurred.
this is the
now
golden
occurs.
message in
Yeah.
Buddhism.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it will not. And once it's passed, the occurrence no longer exists. It's here. So arisen, does it take away the meaning?
Arise
Is
in
there a
and
difference
cease.
between arise and occur?
I think.
Well, cease. I think arise and cease.
Ceases.
Yeah, I think I'll look up a better
Have a look,
translation
yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
That would help. And I'll let you know the one I think is better.
Okay, thank you.
But the message that
The message
you have
is
given
okay,
us
yeah.
is so
Yeah.
powerful, but always understood in canon.
Actually,
it's changed.
yes.
But you have explained it.
Yes, the
in a
special
way.
thing is I appreciate Mr. Will's ideas because he's an English person.
Absolutely.
Actually, his English is better than we have. And if he can get more explanation, that's
Because I think if
better.
anybody else read it,
Yeah.
Yes.
that people not familiar with this phrase, they would
Yes,
struggle
if
with
we
it.
can use
Yeah.
very correct English translation, that is beneficial to many people.
Yeah.
We
And
appreciate
it is
actually.
so powerful that it needs to be
Yeah.
correct.
Language also very important.
Yeah.
Yes. That is why always I ask you, please correct me if I have mistakes. I appreciate, Mrs.
Yeah. But when we listen,
Yeah.
we are so touched by
Yes.
the power of of the meaning you share with us, that the words are not important. You have
Yes.
But most things we can
Transmitted,
understand.
yes.
We understand that most things you say.
Okay.
It's just those small things.
Yeah.
really.
small, very small.
Yes, that is
things,
important.
yeah.
Actually,
Small
a small
Yeah.
thing also very important.
Yes.
Okay. Then day by day we can go forward. Not only our message but also our language too.
So I'm thinking, as you were explaining the supramundane existence, but still in this world, that the jhanic states that are described, then you can enter a state where you're not aware of any material thing. That is that the state that indicates that you have achieved liberation, because you would go into the jhanic state, this supreme jhanic state, and then you would come back
It's
into
beyond,
ordinary.
is it not beyond the jhanic states? It's higher than the jhanic states.
It is, but
You
I
let
mean, if
go
you're
of-
going to exist in this world at
The
all,
last
you've
one
got
is-
to come back. And
Yeah.
but Banti was saying that you can achieve it, but you could still be amongst people, but you will be so different. Is that why you are so different? Because you have gone through these meditative states, you know? You know what I'm saying? In the jhanas, where you just start by simple sitting and, you know, things arise, you know, rapture arises and tension, but you get into the states where you are not aware of anything outside or any material thing at all. It's hard to understand. I can't really understand
so
that.
It's cessation, isn't it, you're talking about?
Yeah.
You've got the higher states, there's infinite space, infinite space. Oh, I can't remember.
Actually, you know, whenever we think that material things in the world, actually it belongs to the conventional truth in the mundane level. You know, even now we are living in the supramundane state, but our ignorance doesn't believe it. For example, when you think your son, when you think your home, what you think? The real house? No. You think your experience that you have before.
Yes, yes.
Not only that, even now, if you look at me, at the moment you don't see my present physical body. The very
it's an image in my brain.
The first one immediately sees us. When we recognize something, we recognize it through our mind. But our delusion doesn't believe it. That is why we depend on outside. Little by little, with this understanding, we go to depend on inside, our wisdom. Whenever we depend on material things, it means we are in ignorance or delusion. Whenever we depend on any material things, it means when they change, we are suffering. That is the nature of our ignorance. Our success depends on getting rid of this ignorance.
So our practice depends on no longer being dependent on it. So that we sit in meditation or not even meditation, but within us we feel
release, cessation.
Yeah, I mean perfect calm, perfect love or purity or something which doesn't depend on anything outside.
Actually, it can be applied to the outside. It doesn't matter. But we should understand, now I read my mind.
Right.
Yeah. So
that is the important thing. You can imagine your house just now. You can think your children just now. It is not bad. But thing is that we should be aware of that. Now I am reading my own mind.
Yeah.
Then we have no problem. We can remember anything. You know, memory is not the fault. Understanding these things is not the fault. What is the fault? Fault means if you remember something, if you think still it is happening, that is the reason of suffering. When you think your reflection in the mirror, if you think still it is there, that is the cause of suffering.
So you're creating these things.
Now I can get a picture with you and I can show you a picture. Then suddenly you will see your picture. Then how do you recognize your picture? Have you seen your own face?
Because I have seen so often in the mirror.
Yes. When you recognize your picture in the photo, is still your picture, your reflection, your shadows, your...
My memory of my reflection.
You are reflecting there?
Yeah, and it's my memory of what I have seen.
Yes, you read your mind.
But isn't it all to do with the subconscious as well? When you look in the mirror for reflection and you look into your eyes, the majority of it goes into the subconscious, doesn't it? It's what the subconscious picks up, isn't it?
Actually, the important thing is when we say that subconsciousness, some people think that the subconsciousness is certain, or it doesn't change. Actually, it is also impermanent.
Yeah.
It is not a
Yeah.
permanent thing.
No.
Yes, according to personal condition, we create the memory,
Yeah.
but it is not permanent.
Even that's changed.
So
Subconsciousness is not permanent.
Right.
It is also arises at the moment.
Yeah, so right, so therefore sometimes when we look into the mirror and what is in the subconscious or what is in the back will eventually come out and it will be clear. Is that right?
Please explain it with details.
It's very hard. I mean, sometimes if,
Give an
like you say,
example.
we look into the mirror
Yes.
and we look sort of into our own reflection and you speak and you can always see if it's what it is. I can't explain it really, but I do it myself. And it sort of clears what's in the back of your mind.
Use an example. So when you look in the mirror,
Yeah.
you see sadness, or are you saying?
Not sadness, but
or
there's
happiness, yeah.
something that's got in the subconscious
Yeah.
that needs to be cleared.
Cleared. Yeah.
So
A thought.
a thought,
Well, isn't it just
Yeah.
a memory?
a memory.
Memory.
So
So
you'll
really,
see.
then you need to get rid of that memory so it's clear. That's
Well,
how.
it's the
probably not get
awareness,
rid of
you
it,
know,
but
but-
it's just accepting it, isn't
Yes, yes.
So you can't erase memory completely.
No,
can you?
no.
So how do you
it? Why erase it?
Why
do
should you erase it?
Why would you
Yeah.
want to erase it?
move it?
Memories always changes.
Yeah.
Then that changes.
For
Yeah.
example, now your hair is cut.
Uh-huh.
Before your hair was long.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
When you go to the mirror,
Uh-huh.
your reflection shows that now your hair is very cut.
Sure.
But you can remember your hair was long before.
Yeah.
Memory also is impermanent.
Right.
That is the very important thing.
Uh-huh.
So it's not real, is it?
It is not real, it is not permanent.
No.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as you go to the mirror, if mirror shows you that your hair is very long, what happens to you? You are so surprised.
Tina goes.
But your memory has the long hair.
Yeah.
When you dream, sometimes you can see that you have a long hair. But when you awaken, you know very well, your hair is very short.
Yeah. Yeah.
Memory is also impermanent.
Right.
That is very important. It changes from time to time.
Yeah.
Every moment it changes.
It changes, but does it go away? It doesn't go away though, does it?
It's distorted. Yeah.
It's still stored.
Just when you get
Actually, it doesn't store anywhere. But you know, Hindus, in their Atman concept, they think that it is stored somewhere. But the very important thing is Buddhism. Even though we go from life to life, from birth to birth, if you have a journey, but Buddhism doesn't believe a certain or permanent soul or something. That is the very important thing.
Even that's changing.
Yes, everything, you know, thinking something or memory is one of the eternal truth in this world. According to Buddhism, several eternal truths, such as Kammaniyama, Bejaniyama, Utuniyama, Dhammaniyama, they are eternal truths. Thinking something, remembering something is one of the eternal truths. It is one of the abilities of our mind. It doesn't mean that our memory is permanent. One of the abilities of our mind is that we can remember anything which happened even in the past lives. It doesn't sound that it is permanent. Actually, that memory also arises at the moment. That is the very interesting thing. Actually, it is a very deep concept in Buddhism. That is the place where Buddhism is different from other religions.
So, just a question. So, when the Buddha remembered his past lives, he was manifesting that eternal truth that we can remember anything. But those memories are being constructed in light of this world and this prapancha that we have created in this life?
Actually, when we think something, that thinking doesn't depend on any material things. Even our prapancha world. You know, for example, after Bhante Sariputta passed away, Buddha explained that this Sariputta was a very good person and he didn't get married more than 500 lives in his previous life. You know, after chief disciple Reverend Sariputta passed away, Buddha explained this Sariputta had a lot of qualities and he had a brahmachari life for 500 lives. When Buddha explains this incident, actually at the moment Sariputta's physical body was burned. And Buddha's previous lives also are finished. How Buddha realizes this truth, this incident? Actually, that memory doesn't depend on even Buddha's physical body, even Sariputta's physical body. It is one of the abilities of our mind. When we develop our mind, our consciousness, we can realize, we can memorize, we can focus what happened in the past. Actually, it's a very deep concept in Buddhism.
It's like a jhana thing.
It is not jhana.
It's not the
It is
self.
not jhana. Even it is not just like psychic energy. It is over them.
Is it not all driven by karma? Essentially, karma drives. All there is karma that passes from one life to another. So memory must be to do with karma.
Actually, memory has a relationship with karma. But karma depends on the conventional world. Karma and results depend on the conventional truth. When an arahant attains arahantship, he has overcome karma.
Yeah.
That's
so
the important
therefore,
thing.
if he's overcome karma, there's no more becoming. No more becoming after.
No more becoming, and also he has seized even his previous karmas too at the moment when he attained enlightenment.
Without karma, though, there is no passing from one life to another. So
that is true. That is true. Having past lives and remembering it are different.
Yeah.
In the conventional truth, even some other religious people also, if they develop their mind with psychic energy, they also can remember something that happened in the past. But the difference thing is that when they explain those things, they think that there is a certain person who comes from life to life.
Exactly.
But Buddha explained these things in another way, another point of view.
It's to do with dependent origination.
Yes, with the understanding of the dependent origination. That is why Buddha says, there is no person who comes from life to life in the highest level, in the absolute truth. In the conventional truth, Buddha advises us to please try to do good deeds because you have another life. You should have a blissful life hereafter, therefore you should follow good deeds. That is why Buddha encourages us to do some good deeds. But it is not true when we go to the absolute truth. Okay, thank you so much, little by little. Thank you for your good attention and your suggestions. I really appreciate your suggestions too. It promotes me. And by the power of all this spiritual energy, may our departed relatives also receive these meritorious thoughts. May they enhance their next life, and may they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's share these merits with our departed relatives, reciting the Gatha stanza. Idam me jnatinam hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo. Idam me jnatinam hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo. Idam me jnatinam hotu sukhita hontu jnatayo. By the power of all these spiritual energies, may guardian deities and angels also receive this energy, and may they enhance their divine energy. May they keep their eye on you too. May they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's share these merits with guardian deities and angels too. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu sasanam. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu desanam. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu tvang sada. By the power of all these meritorious deeds, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no problems come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May your righteous wishes meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain final bliss of liberation, the everlasting happiness, Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantha ca niddukkha, bhayam pantha ca nidbhaya, sokam pantha ca nissoka, hontu sambe pipanino.